Taking a Walk. I'm Buzz Knight, and this is the Taking a Walk podcast. And we're going to be with someone who knows that in this life, no one gets out alive. That doesn't mean we can't make the journey beautiful. Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter Maggie Rose, she's been spinning musical gold from life's raw materials. Her 2024 album, No One Gets Out Alive, Rolling Stone called it one of the best albums of 2024. It proves she's not just surviving the music industry, she is transforming it. And she's going to talk to us about new music, the EP called Cocoon, and lots more on the Taking a Walk podcast. Maggie, welcome to the Taking a Walk podcast. I'm so happy to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So the opening volley we like to bring out is...
I know it's coming.
You do, don't you? The question being, if you could take a walk with somebody, I'm blushing now, you see. If you could take a walk with somebody living or dead, who would you take a walk with? And maybe where would you take that walk?
Okay, I'm going to cheat because I have to say two people. Paul McCartney, because he's the greatest, and I want to hear all the stories about those early days in the caverns, but I also want his take on where music is today. And if I can be so greedy, I have to also say Abraham Lincoln, because he was one of our greatest presidents during such an incredibly divisive time. And I would want to know what he would think about today and how he would navigate today.
That's awesome. I just recorded a future episode yesterday with Eric from the band Midlake.
Mm-hmm.
And he said Abraham Lincoln, and he was talking himself out of it a bit at first. And I said, wait a minute, he's one of the guys, right?
He's one of the guys,
yeah.
Absolutely paramount to our history. People kind of chuckle when I say that because they think that as a musician, you sort of need to default to another musician. But, I'd also work very hard to make Abraham Lincoln a fan of my music. That would be a cool accomplishment to have. But I think that those really were unprecedented times. And how did he turn down the temperature? And how could he possibly unite our country today?
Yeah, what could we learn from our past,
And what would he think about where we've arrived? I mean, I'm sure that might be a kind of brutal criticism from him to see where we've come. But, I think that it would just be eye-opening to have some perspective from someone who was able to find some sort of solution during a time where it felt impossible.
And Paul McCartney would then set us straight on industry-wise where things are absolutely heading. One of the things I love about all of your music, the new song Sting, Cocoon, the EP, and certainly your great career is the fact that you touch many different genres. You like bending the rules a bit over your career. What inspired you to always think that way?
I think it's less about bending the rules and not really regarding rules. Trying to kind of serve each song with the sonic arrangement that it needs. And I like to explore my capabilities and continue examining myself as an artist. So I think that just naturally brings me to these different soundscapes. And I'm very collaborative. So I know that also lends itself to some of the different sounds that you hear is just all the different people I work with.
And you were a fan favorite at Americana Fest recently. It sounds like you had multiple great experiences. Do you want to talk about the one with the symphony in particular?
Yes, it was surreal. So on my last album, No One Gets Out Alive, I had a lot of these really great orchestral arrangements, and we actually used a symphony in Macedonia for the recording. This was something that sort of came out of the pandemic where these incredible symphonies were able to remotely record scores for films and arrangements for albums like my own. So this is the first time that I actually got to realize that kind of presentation with actual ensemble behind me. It was 70 people. So that was daunting because that's a big train. And once it's moving, there's no stopping it, there's no improvising. So that part was nerve wracking, but it just was, I just got totally swept up in the experience. And um, it felt like one of those moments where, there aren't many, but where you get there and you're like, okay, this is kind of that touch point of all this work that I've been doing over the last couple of years to be able to play this music with these musicians who've dedicated their lives to their craft and just talk about a collaborative experience. It was like everybody together helping carry these songs through. And something happened right before I hit the stage where I was able to consciously slow my brain down and be like, please enjoy this and don't let the sensory overload just make it go by so quickly. And I was able to really settle in and enjoy the night. And just that concert hall in Nashville, it's so beautiful. And all the people that contributed to this record, so many of them were there. And it just felt like a big celebration. I hope it's the first of many. Now that we have these arrangements, I know there's symphonies all over the world that I'd love to recreate that night with.
I got chills. That's awesome. That's
I got
fantastic.
chills too. It was really very, very special.
I want to talk about the 2024 album, No One Gets Out Alive. It, certainly has a haunting title. What was your headspace as you were in the midst of that project and that creation?
I kind of felt like I had nothing to lose. I wrote that song with Natalie Hemby and Sunny Sweeney, and it was after I had lost people close to me. I had people that passed away. I had friendships that didn't sustain the pandemic and all the stress of that. And I just felt like, life is too short and it should be celebrated and we should create things that are beautiful. And I kind of took that approach to the production as well. Like these were big arrangements and we swung for the fences and I tried to put together the best band that I could put together in the studio. And I just really, I went for it, I suppose. And it's a lot about life and all of its wonder and, how different events affect our perception of the passage of time. And it's about gratitude. And I think I just was at a place in my life where it was just so like incredibly palpable and all the joy and sorrow just felt like a really creative moment, I think, for me.
And then moving into Cocoon, you have your son Graham,
Yes.
your new young lad. How much did motherhood influence this metaphor of sort of transformation and emergence?
I think it was also about insulation too, like protecting myself during this time of physical creation and also just uh, musical creation. I wanted to have this snapshot of these collections of songs during this really special time in my life. And it also was about growth and all the beautiful things about it, but also the sharper edges of it and how, not everyone wants to grow at the same rate as you. Not everyone wants to go with you to this new place that you're going. And emergence is worthwhile, but you shed some things on your way to that next phase as well. Um, so I think it was a lot of it about anticipation, letting go of things that I didn't need to bring with me in this new chapter as a mother, unburdening myself of some resentment. And also there's songs about hope that, I want to impart that idea on Graham and show him that there is a world where hope is very much alive.
You collaborated on Cocoon with this this gentle flower who needs to come out of her shell by the name of Grace Potter.
I know she's such a wallflower. She's so shy. Uh, I loved y'all's episode, by the way. She's such a great person. The song is about, not necessarily being able to support someone else in their successes, and she's the antithesis of that. She's so supportive, and like her Vermont community benefits from that, but also her creative community. She's um, always lifting people up. And I shared this music with her after it was done because I wanted her to hear it and I wanted her feedback on it. But really, I was angling to get her to jump on this song with me. And she just, the way she is, she said yes on the spot when I asked her over the phone. And her husband, Eric Valentine, is an incredible producer and engineer. So the two of them, I think that night, went and put Grace's part on Poison in My Well, and she sent it back the next day. And I just was like, this is surreal and an example of like, ask for what you want and you might get it. And we certainly did with what she contributed to that song.
It's so great. I love it. Poison in My Well. And thanks for your nice words on having Grace on. She makes it very easy
She
to
does.
roll with the flow because she's got such amazing energy and focus
I
and
love going on walks with her. I mean, just she's so generous with just her thoughts, her takes on what's going on, and she'll just sit in it with you and kind of, there's not an agenda. She's trying to figure it all out and work through it with people.
can you remember the first time in your life that you were impacted by music?
Yes, I mean, I was very young, and I actually think it was because I always loved to sing around the house and I loved to perform for my parents' friends and they'd come over for dinner. Like I just was a bit of a showboat in that way. But I think what impacted me was seeing this group of adults all of a sudden fall silent and pay attention and gather together just to like commune in music. Um, I think seeing the power of that and the community that it brings at such an early age was pretty impactful to me. And there were some pretty cool opportunities as a very young person to sing with other people in choirs and just kind of getting to learn from that. And also, my parents played great music around the house too. Like, my mom would just be like, "What do you think about this song?" And she'd play like the Judds and Mary Chapin Carpenter and talk about their songwriting. And it just was like a very alive in my house.
And very diverse musically, which leads to your diverse musical approach. Certainly, there's a pop side. I mean, you grew up outside of DC, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So
And also,
you
the divas were just like abound when I was growing up. I feel like more so than now, it's just like the female singer was everywhere in every genre, really celebrated. And I think that definitely shaped my inclination to want to sing and belt it out like them.
how much since you moved to Nashville quite a few years ago has Nashville changed?
It's a totally different town, in my opinion, but I've also found a different Nashville myself personally. I think in the creative community that I have around me. When I moved here in 2008, uh, I was releasing commercial country music. I was doing the country radio thing and, being dragged around the country doing radio tours, trying to get that one song played on that station. And uh, I feel like I would put a whole year of my life into promoting this one song when, we have multitudes within us and just the template didn't really work for me. Um, and I think that forced me to explore my sound. And that's when the soul started to come out. And my departure from that approach actually just opened up my world of music. So I started working in a different way. And I think that made me attract people who maybe aren't what you would typically assume a Nashville musician to be. Like Nashville's music is the spectrum is so much more broad than it was before. You'll find people making all kinds of music, and I love that it's growing. The traffic sucks, but the food's gotten really good. Um, I do wish that there was some reverence for like the old music venues around town. This being Music City, I think that we've forsaken some of those really awesome institutions that made people want to move here in the first place. Like there's so much that's given way to the bottom line and tourism and all of those things, which are necessary for a city to grow. But yeah, I think I'm missing the soul of the music scene a little bit in terms of the live entertainment. But there are some incredible places still.
There's a lot of unsung musical heroes, songwriters, session people that need to be, showcased and acknowledged more. I know there's a ton of them that worked on Cocoon with you. Why don't you shine a light on some of these, at times, unsung heroes?
Yeah. I think Melissa Fuller is an incredible writer. She's also a great artist, and I've written songs with her on previous projects. Davis Nash, he was one of the producers with Ben Tanner, who produced my last album. And Davis helped me write a lot of the songs. He uh, is an incredible programmer and musician. Um, Ben Tanner he's with the Alabama Shakes out on tour right now, and he's been so instrumental to my evolution. We made an album down at Fame in Muscle Shoals a couple years ago, and then we worked on No One Gets Out Alive, and he's someone who really gets in the trenches with me and helps me with the A&R process and selecting the songs. And I mean, the role of producer, he takes and he runs with it. He offers so much more. Um, and of course, Natalie Hemby is a great friend of mine. She collaborated on it. Steph Jones, who's had a hell of a year. She's written a bunch of songs for Sabrina Carpenter and has a great pop sensibility. Oh boy, I know I'm forgetting a bunch of people. But my sound guy, Anderson Clendenin, helped with the mixing of it. And he's like this young kid who comes out on the road with us and is such a whiz. And I'm very excited to watch his career grow. I forget that he's like only 24 or something. So yeah, it's exciting. I stay inspired by the people I get to work with.
I mean, you've been an independent, kind of self-founded in your own way. Can you give a piece of advice to artists trying to make it without the big machine behind them?
Yes. I mean, I think you have to be resolute in the fact that this is what you want to do. And definitely don't let the what's around you validate your efforts. I've done this with a big machine. I've done it independently over the years, of course. And I think just always wanting to write that next song and staying curious and wanting to continue to examine myself, that's never gone away. I think staying creative is a choice. Like you have to just be diligent about it. I think that's an approach that I feel like I need to always be trying to flex that muscle. And also, I have done this in such a grassroots way. I think playing live regularly in all these different markets and making sure that I go back and nurture those communities that have come out and seen me over the years, like that's a really important way for me to sustain my audience and what I do, even if it's a little bit longer of a lapse in between releasing new music. Like we try to stay out there because the live show is so important to me in connecting with people.
Talk about some more of the songs on Cocoon that in particular you feel are going to really play great out in front of people.
Well, I failed to mention Chuck Harmony and Claude Kelly as some of my collaborators. They wrote the title track with me, and they also wrote Relentless with me. And they actually are very celebrated songwriters. They've written songs for Miley Cyrus and um, all sorts of people. But I think Relentless is a really great message for the EP as a whole because I wrote it just a few days after I found out that I was dropped by my previous record label. I have a new home and everything turned out all right. But that was one of those moments where you're asking, like, how does an artist keep going without the big machine? That was definitely a moment where I decided to double down and press on. And I think that that always goes over really well in the audience because it's not necessarily providing a solution for the listener, but it is definitely an encouraging message.
The Washington Post, little newspaper, called you one of music's rising storytellers. What stories are you most compelled to tell right now at the stage of your life?
Right now, stories of hope. Um, the last song on the EP is a song called Fly. And it's the only song in this collection of songs that I didn't write and record, while I was pregnant. I actually wrote it years ago with Caitlin Smith and Raleigh Galswick. And I felt like I was like, this is too, too hopeful. This is too positive. And because of, where I am right now, with my son, and I'm excited about the future, I felt like, okay, this is time to share this message, and maybe it'll be like, Field of Dreams. If you put it out there, it'll happen. And I think that's what we need right now. It sounds trite, but if you can package it in a way that you can believe, and I feel like I'm trying to get there, then that's okay. I'll have more of that out there for sure.
Maggie, you clearly have this approach, which is not leaving anything, you know, taken for granted and just playing and creating as if it's the last time you're going to play and create. You have that all in 1,000% approach for sure. Do you know when that first clicked in as a musician, that attitude?
I I mean, I think sometimes it's almost like I just need to get in that mode and hope that I will mentally arrive there. So like it appears that way, but I think it's because I see this as a vocation. I think it's there's not really a plan B. There's not something else I would rather be doing. It makes it very simple in a way because you're just like, well, this is it. And I'm getting to do what I love. And yeah, it comes with some challenges and it can be kind of gnarly at times, but I don't have to wonder about what else I'd want to be doing. So that kind of makes it easy in a way to just say, okay, we're all in.
I'm so grateful that you came on the podcast, and I'm so grateful for the music that you continue to give us and the performances, and oh, I neglected to let you plug your podcast. So why don't you plug your podcast?
Oh, thank you. It's called Salute the Songbird, and I get to interview all my favorite women in the industry. Um, and I just did a special episode with Caitlin Smith and Lucy Silvis and Jillian Jacqueline about motherhood and being a working mom in the industry. But I've had Melissa Etheridge on and Nancy Wilson, and it's so dreamy. And now I'm doing it in front of a live audience, which is really fun because I'm talking to other performers and they just really give me great interviews with that energy in the room. So I hope to continue doing it. And the list of people that I've being recommended just never ends. It's constantly growing because there's so many amazing people out there to talk to.
Well, and those people want to be on with the cool people, and you are one of the cool people. So
Thanks, Buzz.
yeah, thanks, Maggie.
I'm trying.
I appreciate you being on. This is awesome.
It's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Taking a Walk podcast. Share this and other episodes with your friends and follow us so you never miss an episode. Taking a Walk is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.